Yeah, that's perfect.
Is that all right? That.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, buddy. Maybe I can turn this off then.
Moving on up.
Right, I don't need the fucking thing now. Right, so I'm already recording, but I'll just chop and change it. Yeah, but it's all right. I'll just chop and change it anyway.
I'll start recording now.
Vagina.
Not yet. Wait.
Yeah, joking.
Recording in progress.
It's always good to start with a laugh in it, doesn't it?
Absolutely. What better way to start?
Yeah, it's just Matthew and I having another chat.
Yeah.
See where it goes.
Just another one of our many chats that we've had that have countless nuggets of wisdom in, with the occasional fart. But we always come to the conclusion that we should have recorded that because fucking that would have been very useful for somebody.
Yeah, exactly. So, what's been happening for you, Matthew, recently then?
So, mate, well, to be honest with you, since we did that Akashic record reading the other day, just out of the blue, wasn't it? Like, for me anyway, I don't know if you had it planned, and you was like, are you free tomorrow? I was like, yeah. He's like, fancy doing an Akashic record reading? I need to do a second person. And then I'm going to like build it up by doing a few for free first. So obviously I was like, well, yeah, count me in. I'm free, I'm available, let's do it type thing. So I did it. And then like a lot of the stuff you've told me before, a lot of the stuff that was in there, you've mentioned it to me several times, which is like, if only you could like see yourself through the way that I see you and value yourself as much as I value you and those type of things. And yeah, so you said that to me, which you've said to me before, and obviously I think that about you as well. But like you said it in that reading, and for whatever reason, I was like, you know what, I'm going to let this fucker in this time. As in the words, not you. you're the words. I'm gonna let it in, and I'm not. Yeah, there's so much going around. It's like the attachment thing, the avoidant attachment. We've been working on that since we found out about it, and it's been like it's opened up a lot of things, and it's like it's not just relationships; it's so much more than that. And then fast forward, those subtle bits of work, those shadow work videos, watching all that. Something must be happening, because when that happened and you were saying it, and it was just like, maybe this time I'm going to try and treat it differently. And I noticed those unconscious patterns coming to the surface to try and push it away and not accept it. And I was like, nah, fuck you. Like, I don't need this anymore. Like, maybe there was a point in my life when this protected me and stopped me opening myself up to be hurt, and that not being vulnerable was probably, maybe at one point, who knows the right or wrong answer, maybe it was the best thing to do, but now it's not. 34-year-old me doesn't need to fucking do that anymore. So I was like, right, and we got off the phone, and there was so much fucking cool stuff in there. But we got off the phone, and I was like, I'm going to start right now. I'm not going to do what a typical Matty would do and be like, yeah, that's a good one to remember in the future, and then there'll be some time further down the line when something happens and I'll be like, oh, now's a good time to remember that. It's like, now, start now. And I'd had like a group chat that I'd been not really putting much energy into. And I was like, right, let's start with this. Let's go with that. And then told them, opened up in the group chat. I said, right, look, I've got this thing where I struggle with avoidant attachment. I struggle to accept praise. I've got a bit of imposter syndrome. Like, I go online and I say stuff, and I get lots of people giving me feedback and telling me nice things, and I struggle to accept it. I've got a bit of an imposter syndrome with it all, and it's a real thing. But the magic of it all, I saw a video of Chris Williamson talking about imposter syndrome. Lo and behold, it triggered something in me, and I was like, I'm doing the same thing. And what am I also doing? I'm also doing videos that are triggering things in people, that are giving them realizations, that are changing their behavior. And it's exactly what's just happened to me. So like, get out of your own way and just start living it. And those stories that you're telling yourself that are stopping you stepping into your purpose, which is why I truly believe I'm here to share my story, to trigger awakenings within people. Those stories, the bullshit, the nonsense, you've told me enough times. I've seen enough signs around me and people have told me, and it's like right now I'm going to finally just get it all out of the way and start actually living that purpose now. So that's pretty much what's been going on. Like mainly that's been at the forefront of my consciousness, and that's like there's been lots of stuff going on in the background. There's been cooking Christmas dinners, there's been organising walks, all this sort of stuff. But right, like what's been there when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, fuck, right, now's the time. Like that's been there, that's been at the forefront of my mind. So yeah, that's it. That's what's been going on.
Yeah, shit. Well, it's like everything that I noticed, you know, it's like messaging Kate today about sort of, you know, children triggering you and triggering this inner part within you and all of this sort of stuff. It's happening to everybody right now. Yeah. Everybody's, you know, I'm triggering my parents. Jesse's triggering me. Like, you know, and all this unconscious patterning is coming up to be seen, you know, and whether we're open to it is the discerning factor of whether or not we're going to be able to move through it, or we're not going to be able to move through it. But exactly the same with you, that pushing away. Like I notice it, you know, within myself. It's like over-explaining stuff, or, you know, that nervousness within us that's sitting there all the time and going like, no, I'm not worth that, and, you know, I don't deserve this, and all the rest of it. It's only us that's keeping it away from us, you know what I mean? But in that radical honesty, also with that comes the acceptance or the allowing. Also, the allowing happens in, you're also allowing in all of the healing and the uncomfortable parts as well. But that's the good stuff as well, you know. It's like, that's the really good stuff, you know, because it stops you sabotaging. And I think I did mention it to you in just a message before that sort of spurred this on, was that thing of when I was a child, that image of when I was a kid coming up, and it's that when I was in school and three of us got lined up in like a fucking, what do you call it, like a lineup basically. And there's, you know, there's three. There's Tom Rees, then there's Scott Magson, and then there's me. You know what I mean? And then it's like, did you push Leocardis over or whatever it was to Tom? No, I didn't. Scott Magson, he's crying his eyes out. He's fucking, you know, he's obviously the perpetrator of this. But to me, as the child who wanted to keep everybody happy all the time, he said, no, it wasn't him. Sniffling and stuff. Oh, it wasn't me. Well, it was obviously fucking him. Do you know what I mean? Teachers, come on, do your job. You know. And then she looked at me and I was like, well, it was obviously me then, wasn't it? If it wasn't any of them, do you know what I mean? It's just like, I'm literally getting myself and throwing myself under the bus.
Yeah.
You know. But for what? Confluence, for keeping everybody else happy. In that time, I remember doing it almost sarcastically, and she's like, she's never going to actually pin me for this because she obviously knows it. They did pin me for it.
Yeah.
But I was sat there going like, why the fuck did I just do that?
Yeah.
Why the fuck did I just throw myself under the bus? Why would a child do that at the age of, I don't know, like 11, 12, something like that? Because that's the family pattern, you know? It's like, you're the scapegoat child. You get told all this. And then it's really interesting to look at, like, you know, Disney films or whatever. And this just popped into mind now. There's archetypal energies in the Disney movies and stuff, and like, you know, Finding Nemo is all about letting go and surrendering to the divine and trusting that everything will be fine and it's all already played out. And then you've got The Lion King, which is all about the scapegoat child. And you look at the archetype of what's going on in it, it's the fucking thingy. And then there's other movies, and every single one you're watching, it's just like, wow, all of these are like helping us to form these archetypal energies, basically. It's just really interesting how that came to mind. But it's interesting, isn't it? We're no longer, when we're now being open, we're opening up to our divine essence. And I think in that means us going like that, you know, almost like, oh shit, what's going to happen? But the more that we can be honest, the more people go, yeah, me too. Fuck yeah. Yeah, I get really angry at my kids sometimes and I don't know why either. And through you being able to do that, it's allowing other people that doorway to not feel so alone, to open up to it and see it as a good thing. But a lot of people who aren't in the thing I'm noticing, that a lot of people who aren't in that vibration of allowing that or being authentic, even though it's fucking messy from the outside, like this morning looked really messy, you know, so much judgment flying about, really uncomfortable for people. But then when you can sit there and go, shit, I take full accountability for that. That was me. That was a part of me in there that did that. And it was unconscious because I am not that. I'm not that person who hates or fears or any of this stuff. But it's just really interesting to observe. And the pushing away other people resist that. Parents, they were like, no, you can leave, because you're being so honest. Whereas other people are really attracted to it. So you've got to let them fall away. And this is what I'm being tested on right now. You've got to let them fall away to allow in the other people to come in, I guess. It's like, and that's uncomfortable because that's change. But that is what change is all about, isn't it, I think? But
yeah, definitely. Yeah, a couple of things.
Some shit.
I love that sign off or some shit. I've started using that as well.
What the fuck do I know?
Exactly. Yeah. I've started using that. I fucking love it.
Midwife's doing editing. Oh, that's better. That's a bit more neutral. It's not like.
I've got like a little flap on mine, which hope's working. Do I look alright? I don't look like a rabbit in the headlights, or do I?
No, it looks really good. You got red in your cheeks. It's good.
So, like, I got like a sensation, like, like when you get confirmation sensations, like on the back of your neck or the back of your head or something. I got them when you said the part about, okay, so this is what some people do, right? So some people will be like, I'm going to allow stuff in. And you've got the full spectrum of what you allow in. Up here, you're fucking an embodiment of Buddha or whatever, yeah? You're completely divine. Down here, you're the worst person in the world, yeah? Right, so it's a full spectrum, yeah? Some of us, like, put a lid on our spectrum. The whole thing's there available to us, and the whole thing's for us, and we're all of it, yeah? At times, and we can be anywhere on that scale at any time, yeah? But what some of us do, especially, it's like I don't know what causes it, but I definitely notice it in some people. You'll close the top lid down. So, and this is the avoidance attachment style. So these are all these nice things that you can possibly be, or that you're allowing to believe about yourself. Yeah, and you'll just bring the lid down. That one stays where it is. You'll accept that. You'll accept that you can be the opposite end of the spectrum to that. But then what you will allow yourself to reach up to shrinks down. So it's like you're only allowing a certain amount of goodness in. But fully accepting, like, self-reflection when it comes to a negative impact that you might have had on somebody, or where you've, like, said the wrong thing, done the wrong thing. I did this in my past and I learned this from it because I shouldn't have done this and I shouldn't have done that, and X, Y, Z, and we're good at that. You're excellent at that. I'm trying do all right here as well.
You are very good at that. Allow that one in.
Yeah, there you go. I'm doing it again. Oh, yeah, perfect.
If you could see you like I see you, Matthew, that's it.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. Well, that's it right in the moment there. But then we won't allow the other stuff in, and part of breaking the unconscious patterning of the avoidant attachment style is just expanding ourselves up a little bit and saying you can be the good things as well sometimes. Someone says to you, you've made my day brighter today just by being in it. They're not lying to you. They're not trying to manipulate you. They don't want secretly anything from you. They just feel like that, and they're expressing it to you. Except you've got this invisible barrier, and you're just not allowing it in, this little defense mechanism, and you're like dodging out the way. No. Exactly. And I think we do that, and I think, like, we're just going to get used to, if you're going to accept the stuff that's down here, like, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, blah blah blah, then fucking hell, open up to the other stuff as well, because you're limiting yourself to a narrow window of human experience. Do you know what I mean? It comes with the full spectrum of human emotion as well, isn't it? And a lot of people try and avoid the lower ones because they're less comfortable to feel, and they want to stay in the higher ones. But you can't have one end of the spectrum without the other. We're here to experience polarity, duality, contrast, all of those things.
Of it. Yeah. So. All of it. Yeah, exactly. And that's it. It's like in the spirit realm. It's like that story that my mate Shane told us when he said, like, he. In a Bufo ceremony, like 5-MeO or DMT, his ancestors were there, and they were like, "Is it okay if we just come down into your body, just to remember how to feel and stuff?" And they're in spirit realm, so it's very different. We've got, like, tangible, tactile stuff here. Up there, it's like, I'm guessing, It's like, well, I do know on some level, but to come down here and actually feel stuff. They asked Shane, it's like, do you consent to us coming down into your body? And literally, they said, then Shane just went like, oh, I started to feel his face. and started to feel it down here. And it's like, wow, do you remember arms? Do you remember having arms and stuff? And he could hear them all speaking as they're doing this in his body and things. And it was fascinating to sort of feel that or see that, you know, from that perspective. He told me some mad shit, absolutely mad shit. But it's interesting what you're saying about, like, you know, not allowing stuff in. It's really interesting observing my mum at Christmas time. Like, you know, it's like Kate, she sent mum a gift, and you know, anybody who's giving gifts to my mum, you know, it's like I see where she's at, because she's there going like, you know, oh, you shouldn't have done this. Words like that, you know, it's like, oh, this is ridiculous. You know, you can't do this. This is so bad, Nicola James. You know what I mean? It's just like giving stuff to her, and she's going, no, because really her inner worth is so low that she doesn't think that she's worthy of any of this stuff, you know. And it's like the ability to just go, thank you very much, thank you, is huge for people with self-worth. And usually linked to self-worth is a form of manipulation, really, because we're constantly trying, and I know this, you know, it's like if we've had you know, parents who you could call narcissists or whatever it is, they have such a low self-worth that they're trying to justify to themselves and the world that they're not worthy of this. So they will literally repel people. They will push people away, you know, and that part of the avoidant is that, you know, but there's you know, it's not, you know, really narcissists don't exist. They are just people with so little self-worth, you know, that they can't allow that stuff in. And I noticed that within myself. And it's almost like we try and get the world to justify, or the mirror of reality to justify to us how worthless we are and how pointless we are to this world, you know, when really all those people need is kindness, you know. And it's so hard to do because they're so resistant to it. And I know this because I've been so resistant to it. And there was a part in my life when I was like, fuck, I'm a narcissist, you know. But even just you admitting that was a huge turnaround for me, because I've had tended, you know, as well, it's the same, isn't it? That we all have been in those such unconscious states that we are manipulating reality, but we're doing it from a place of just, you know, that end polarity of fear, basically. And when you're in fear, it's you don't, you know, it's like you're resistant to everything, and because of that resistance, you suffer loads. Resistance equals suffering. It's like, why does it do that? Because it keeps you there for so long, so that you then recognize that it's actually harming you. Maybe not in this lifetime. Like my grandma, she's going to die and not realize that it was her resisting all that love that was keeping her where she was, you know. It's keeping her unhappy. Same with mum as well, you know. Same with us to a degree, you know. It's like, and a lot of people maybe watching this and feel the same. They go, like, shit, yeah, parts of my life I've been, what I would say is fucking completely out of order this morning with me and my daughter, you know. I was forcing her to go on the toilet because I didn't want to piss herself in the car, you know. But again, it's because I'm around these energies that I'm so scared that I'm going to be judged if I get something wrong. And underpinning all of that, what I was doing was love, really. But it's very fucking fine. As soon as you admit those things and stuff, it's like you feel it all. You feel what you've done to the world, and that is what I felt this morning is what a lot of the population right now are resisting. And I get it, because it's so uncomfortable to think, shit, I'm capable of doing that, you know. But we all are. That's it's the beautiful thing that they said in Jordan Peterson says, you know, what did we learn from World War II? We are the Nazis. We would do that as well. Look at COVID. People dobbing on their neighbours for the government who they have no affiliation with. You know, it's like, oh, these people on the left, they're all peeking because they're so scared. And that's a really good point to bring it on to, is like, you know, we are so scared to step out of that box of being defined as normal or weird. If you're weird or you're different, aren't you? And it's like the powers that were have tapped into something deep within us. And they've literally said, like, you know, right, we'll just get them fighting amongst themselves. And we're fucking great at that because we're so unaware, you know. It's like we're so scared of what everybody else around us thinks all the time that we are not being who we truly are because we want to please the people in the room next door. Never met them before. Fuck my family. You know what I mean? They can chuck them under the bus as long as I'm appearing to be this upstanding member of society.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. It's deep. deep. If you want to say there's something evil here, yeah, that's pretty fucking evil. What they've managed to manipulate over generations and generations of that fear, trapping us all, and dobbing on one another, and literally like getting our own family to appear normal. That's what happened with me this morning. It's like, oh shit, I'm going to be judged if this happens. The thing, all that fear builds up. You fall into unconsciousness. And you start believing the story. It's like, it's dangerous. But yeah, admitting that and going, shit, yeah, I treated you badly there, and I did it from a place of fear. And then showing yourself compassion. Wow, that's hard.
Yeah,
hard to do that. And this morning driving down, I'm not a fucking victim of this at all. I take full accountability for what I did, But it's like I understand where society's at. I understand where my parents are at. Because once they open one door and they go, I have to say sorry for that, then I have to say sorry for that. Boom, 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 boom. Takes a lot of bollocks to be able to do that, But it's interesting. Radical honesty is very scary to people who are living a life. Very scary. But that fear isn't real either, But interesting.
Yeah, it's like I think the radical honesty side of it comes with what it requires is a level of humility to hold your hands up and say, there's something here that I've thought my whole life, right up until this moment. I've had this way of thinking, and you're being presented with something which challenges everything you've ever thought about a certain thing for your whole entire life. So you feel a bit foolish almost, because this thing that you've been living this certain way is being brought into question all of a sudden. For example, trusting the government. We use that as an example because we touched on that in 2020. So people are like, they've trusted it the whole life, and now they're like, people might be saying, "What, you don't believe that, do you?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah, of course I do. It's on the news. Like, how can it not be true?" And like, part of them's looking at it and thinking, that actually does look pretty dodgy. But if I admit that, then I admit that I've been fooled for 40 years. And which one's worse? Looking like a fool, or
it's pride, isn't it?
Yeah, pride. Exactly. And the radical honesty, you've got to let go of everything that the ego wants to attach to, which is the pride, which is being right, which is like anything from the past where you've made a decision or stood up for something and stuck up for something which is now turned out to be wrong. Radical honesty is radical. It's gonna start. Some masks are gonna have to come off, and you're gonna have to start breaking through some paradigms of ways you've been living, what things you've been doing, thoughts you've been having about lots of different things about your life. So that's the uncomfortable thing. You ever seen those memes when it's like there's like these two, it's like a canopy and like a desk almost, like where you go and get lemonade from, like a lemonade stand. Let's call it a lemonade stand, One of them's got a massive queue, and it says comfortable lies, and there's a massive queue of people, and there's this one that says uncomfortable truths, and it's just one person stood there like, what are you doing? But that's true. That's society. That's life. People give people a comfortable lie and let them carry on living in their facade of society, of their life, this made up illusion that they've been in. And they're like, well, at least I get to feel the same level of comfortability that I've been feeling this morning when I woke up.
Yeah.
I don't have to go to bed tonight less comfortable than I did this morning, because fuck me, like anything that's going to take away the slightest bit from where I am now, like don't give me that. Just lie to me all day long. And that's what people. That's where things are at the moment. I mean, you're seeing signs of it kind of coming away from it a little bit, but at the moment, the vast majority are still there. And they're not willing to let go of being comfortable.
The illusion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and that's it. It's like, and then there's an irony to that, because I see so much of it now, and so will you. It's like there are uncomfortable things that have happened when we've stood in our integrity over the last 4 years or whatever. It's like, and it's perfectly designed. Like, it was so perfect, all the COVID bullshit. Do you know what I mean? It's not even bullshit anymore. It's like the COVID fucking narrative and all the things that happened. Do you know what I mean? It's uncomfortable, but it had to be.
Yeah.
The beauty of it had to be so fucking I don't believe in Satan or whatever it is. There is just a polarity of love, and there's a real dark agenda at play. But what the darkness can't see in their agenda is they are actually quickening the awakening process, because it is all God. It's like, if it wasn't for that, then we wouldn't be where we are now. I wouldn't be, certainly. I would still be working in the forestry, la-di-da-di-da, everything's all right, you know what I mean? But we had to have that little punch in the face. Oh, are you going to take that? Yeah, I'll keep taking that. Yeah, it's no bother at all. Do you know what I mean? Some of us got hit in the face and we're like, no, fuck this. Like, I'm not having this. Like, and that's it. It's sorted. And I can't say, I'm not making any judgment to anybody either. I was going to say men from the boys. But it's like people who are willing to look a bit deeper and be uncomfortable, and then the grace of that, the beauty of that, is that in that discomfort you find freedom, and a lot of people are resisting it at the moment, and I get it. I get why they are, because there's part of this where I'm going like, oh shit. And I asked for what happened today. I prayed for it this morning. I was like, peel another layer off the onion. And I didn't say this time, with love and light, ease and grace. I just said, just do it. And then it literally triggers you. Your higher self comes in, manages to make you unconscious at some point, so that you dig out another layer of yourself that is not you. And what that looks like to people who are not maybe in that frequency, it looks really messy. It looks really messy. Yeah. But that leads me on to this point of just like, when we start to awaken, don't expect it to be all peace, love, light, and unicorns. It's not. It's the exact opposite of that, for a very good reason. And if we're all expecting an easy journey and it's going to be easy and lovely, it's not. It's like the conditioning here is so thick that it's hard to cut through with anything other than like suffering. Like, oh shit, can I admit that about myself? Oh my God, like, it's like, yep, there's parts of that, and it's a never changing, a never evolving thing, isn't it? Yeah. It's like literally peel one off and you go like, right, cool. Oh, right, the next one is probably going to be harder than that one that just came off, and it's like, it's a fucking one, mate, But would you take any of it back? Is my question to you, Marty. Would you take any of that suffering back for anybody who's maybe in suffering right now and listening to this?
Absolutely not. I wouldn't. Nah. And there's not a single second of any day that I would take back, because like I'd be too worried to lose the person I am right now, and every single difficult second of minute of hour times literally like counting the minutes, counting the hours, saying, oh look, right, it's 2:00 now. Like, I just want to make it to 3:00. Like, we'll get to 3:00, and then I'm not worrying about tonight. I'm not worrying about tomorrow. I'm worrying about getting to 3:00. 3:00 comes around. Right, another hour. Right, buzzing. Right, now let's get to 4:00. Like literally during the dark night, I was literally doing that for months on end. I'd close my eyes at night. I'd go to sleep. I'd wake up in the morning, and like, it wasn't, oh, I'm hungry, I need a piss, or what's the plan for today? It's, oh wow, I've still got full body raging, crippling anxiety, which to the point where I can barely breathe. I can't think about anything else, and it's just consuming everything about my being. And literally counting the minutes, counting the hours through the day, it got that intense. But would I change it? No. Like, looking back now, it was so perfect. I loved every second of it, and I wouldn't change any of it, because like all the old sayings, I say quite a few of them, but they're meaningful. It's like, I ask God for strength. So God doesn't wave a magic wand and like give you muscles. You know what I mean?
Motherfucker, there you go.
Here's a difficult. That was easy. Exactly. Where's the growth in that? What's the point in that? Like, it's like, here's a situation that is going to be very difficult. It's going to challenge you. It's going to rock you to your core. It's going to bring into question everything you thought you was ever capable of overcoming in your life, and you're going to be on the brink of giving up and not knowing whether or not you're going to make it through. But come through it you will, because you're not going to be given anything you can't overcome. And then when you get through the other side of it, you're going to completely forget the question you asked in the first place. You're going to get lost in it. You're going to get to the other side. You're going to sit there one day and go, oh shit, this is what I asked for. And it's not till you get the other side of the valley that you realise that that's what you was asking for. You was asking to be on the other side of it. but you can't get to the other side of it without going through what it takes to get there. And that's where the magic is. The magic's in that part. It's not in just leapfrogging it and bypassing it all and just, because why would you want to do that? It's pointless. You want to get to the other side of it. Whenever you see like an athlete at the top of their game, like you see the finished product, you see them in the ring on the fight night, for example. You don't see the hours and hours and hours of grueling training till they throw up, dieting, living away from family, doing all of those things. You don't see that. You just see the end product. And that's sometimes what people see, like with yourself, for example, when you're on a podcast. I was watching part of one of your podcasts the other day on Instagram, and I was just sat there watching you, and you just sat there looking like a gentleman with your glasses on and that. And I was thinking, he's a smart chap, Sam, isn't he? And then I was like, but nobody fucking knows, like, all of the stuff that it took to get him to that point of wisdom where he's able to so eloquently put across these examples and these reference points, which have given him the lived experience to get him to where he is in that moment. People just look at you and think, all right, that's just, they've probably read a lot of books, or that person's like been quite lucky, or whatever. And they try to make excuses for themselves almost for why they're not there. And it's like, you've probably got a story yourself if you look around, but a lot of people can't find the introspective like reflection to look back on it in a way where they can say, shit, wow, that was something. And a lot of people don't have the sensitivity as well, having gone through the experience, to be able to process it in a way where they can then interpret it afterwards and say, shit, that affected me quite a lot. That knocked me for six. That really was difficult to overcome. And some people will go through it. Two people could have the same experience and be affected in a completely different way. Like they say, no two people see the same tree. It's true. Two people can go through the same experience and be affected in a completely different way. So there's that to take into consideration as well. But when you go through experiences in life, I believe you go through a lot of it for a reason. You're not given more than you can handle. And it's just like you don't want to miss out on the middle bit. You don't want to wish it away, because that's where the magic lies. The magic lies when you're walking through the valley, not when you get to the other side and you're at the finished destination. You know what I mean? Yeah,
totally. And it is like I forget that, and I think it's a big part of probably why we're having this conversation now, because it's something that Michelle said to me in that podcast, was to write down what you went through to get you to where you are now, because that will help you catalyze that own inner love, is the word I'm going to use, that own inner worth and love, that as you move further away from those experiences, time-wise, you do forget. You forget what you went through. I forget lying in, my sister's house, having broken up with my ex-partner, who we just had a child together with, going psychotic with fear, and lying there in bed, feeling floods of terror, saying to God, please kill me first over anybody else, which is kind of a fucking suffering way out. But the way I was doing it was, I was like, kill me first so that I can show other people how to die, from a place of not fear. And that's really deep fucking stuff. I remember lying in bed, feeling those floods of terror come up, hell terror, the place that we go to in these dark nights, of which there's been many, not like that first one. That first one for me was the fucking icing on the cake, because it was me lying there going, oh my God, like you said, shit, I've made it another time disappeared in that for me. I remember thinking like, shit. And I remember being like what you call bipolar, so up and down. 1 minute I was ecstatic, and then the next minute I was just hitted and feeling this like God hated me, like a deep soul level fucking terror that I can't describe to people. The people listening to this and know what it's like. If you've been through psychosis and stuff, it's like it's. But again, like, would I take any of it back? Nope. Do we want to do it again? No.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, but I knew, and it's interesting actually, because when I was up with you and your family at Christmas, I had those feelings come up again watching that film. It was perfect, I was watching that film, And it brought up whatever it needed to bring up in that moment for me. It brought up that feeling of terror when then people were screaming like they were possessed by something. That, for some reason, that exemplified that feeling that I felt. But instead of, and this is like really patting myself on the back here and going like, shit, yeah, man, like none of my family know what that feels like. None of my friends know what that feels like. You do, you know, it's like, but that hell terror, that soul level terror is beyond, like if you're in a car crash, yeah, it's pretty scary, you know, but this was like that multiplied by 1,000. It was horrendous, you know, but the interesting thing is where I'm at now, watching them people scream in that film, for whatever reason, brought it up within me again. And it brought it up for a very good reason, because I was able to sit there in a room full of people and go, fucking A, Sam, like, well done, mate, because I was feeling all that terror again. But instead of going, that's terrifying, I was literally just going like, oh, that's interesting, you know, that's just energy in my body. And it doesn't matter. I was actually there's a part of you that actually wants that on a level, because it realizes the gain that you get out of it on a completely different level of whatever we're talking about. You know, that fear of death, that fear of whatever it is, that is a releaser, and it releases loads of stuff, and it helps in the long run. And it's actually the thing that a lot of people are resisting, and I get it because it's scary. But once you understand it, then it becomes different, because then you can use that to help and serve and be, you know, who you truly are. But all of that stuff has got to come up and out here. And it's quite interesting. This Christmas, speaking to my sister, and I'm saying, you know, to her, we're talking about, you know, it's like, it doesn't have to, she was saying, it doesn't have to be all suffering and this, that. I don't believe that, you know. And it's like, and I noticed in her eyes, she's like, I saw what you went through and I'm terrified to go through that. So I'll resist it. I'll keep busy with things, or I'll, you know, do this, that, and the other. Actually, I saw in her, I was like, oh shit, she's fucking terrified as well. They're all terrified because they saw what I went through in my thing. You know, they saw what I went through. That my paradigm of what I thought this world was and the reality of what it is in that transitional period, it's terrifying. It's terrifying to think everything that you've attached to is bullshit, really. You know, it's like, and that's really, and I understand where people are at, but I saw that fear in my sister. It was really interesting. I don't think it has to be like that. It doesn't have to be. And all I saw really was saying, like, I don't want to go through that, you know, because there's levels of the ego that initially it's really tough, but it gets easier after that. If you're watching this and going like, fuck, you know, it gets blissful after a while. But
all that stuff has to come to the surface. You have to experience that, don't you? It's like I think is it Nietzsche? He says, for a tree's branches to reach heaven, its roots must go to hell. And whenever you're in the darkness, like, you're not lost. You're growing roots, and every moment you spend there, your roots are just digging themselves down deeper into the ground. That foundation, that solid grounding that you've got for what you're able to withstand. Because what does a tree do when it's got big roots? The storms come, the wind comes, winter comes, and it's blowing and it's moving around in the wind, but underneath it's fucking solid.
Edge, isn't it?
It's solid. It's solid.
Solid.
It's not going anywhere. Like all the other trees are just like waving about like this, and that one's just solid. It's not even moving. Why? Because underneath the surface, before what you can't see beneath the surface is just wisdom, strength. It's just darkness, and it's stronger in the darkness than it is in the light, because it goes deep down within. Do you know what I mean? Like, coming back to like reference points, like there's like a comparison like of the dark night of the soul, like so people can get a measure of what it's like, right? I remember being like 6 years old. I was in my bedroom, right, and me and my little brother, we'd each stuck some stickers on the wall in my sister's room. Basically my fucking dad came in, and he got me and my brother up against the wall by our necks, right, and he was like choking us, and he said, right, he said, one of you, he said, you're both gonna die, or one of you admits it and only one of you dies. So I said, and it was my brother, and I knew it was my brother. And I was looking, my brother's there like that, and I'm like, it was me. And he goes, right, he throws Luke out the room and gives me the biggest levering I've ever had in my fucking life. He was battering me for about fucking 2 hours. But I was in that bed at night time and I was thinking, haha, like 1-0. Like, you threatened me with death. You threatened me with death and I welcomed it. And I'm sat here upstairs, like, just chilling in my bedroom. Yeah, I've got a bit of a sore arse and that from where you've been slapping me and stuff, but fuck off. Like, you didn't win. You didn't win, and like from that, I learned an important lesson that day. And like, there's been times throughout life when things have happened, and I've been met with like extreme fear, and I've looked it in the eye, and I've gone, I'm not fucking scared. I'm not scared. Like, I went to a fucking war zone, and I've already told you this story, but there was a massive explosion. A car had been filled with 500 kilograms worth of explosives, and they'd been driving it towards the front gate, and there was the guard force managed to take the driver out, and one of them got out with a detonator, and so the vehicle never made it onto the base, but it got pretty close, so they detonated it about 400 meters further back than what they wanted it to. If it had made it to its target, I wouldn't be sat here. It blew all the windows out on all the neighbouring buildings. A chair that my friend had just been...
500 kilograms is a lot.
Like, yeah. It was raining 6-inch nails and bits of metal and stuff, what they'd packed into it.
Yeah.
So the whole thing altogether was about 500 kilograms. Metal, scrap metal, all this shit. And it was literally, it was raining nails. Like, we were sat inside. There was a big, massive dust cloud. The room went dark because you couldn't see outside. Because of this dust cloud, and then it was like, you could just hear bits of metal and that hitting the ground and stuff. And I was sat there. The lads were like putting on the helmets and the body armor on and stuff, and our rifles was in the armory. We only had pistols, and it was like loading up the pistols and stuff. And I was just like, "What the fuck is that gonna do?" Like, do you know what I mean? Did you not hear that? Like, but it's quite funny. And then we were just all getting ready, and I was lying in bed and like. Obviously, inside, I feel the same as everybody else. But on the outside, I'm like, I'm going to show them what it looks like not to be scared, because like it can take over and it can be worse than the actual thing that's happening. And I just started cracking jokes and being stupid. And all of a sudden the mood lifted, and we was just, by the end of it, we started playing cards and having a laugh. But every now and again you did like footsteps outside, and everyone would be like pistols like out to the door, like fuck, what's that? And then nobody had come in. It'd just be like, God knows what it was, people just running around. You could hear like gunfights and stuff going on in the distance, but over the radio we got told to stay where we was, so we didn't move. Plus we only had pistols, and the French all had like rocket launchers and AK-47s and shit like that, so we just thought we'd let them do it. Anyway, so those two moments like happened, plus there's like quite a few more that I could mention, but yeah, I'm just trying to give examples of stuff that have happened where it can be quite scarring on your life, and it can definitely give you PTSD, and it has done, both of them, you know, without question. And it's taken me a long time to heal that in myself, but what it's done, it's given me reference points. So these are like reference points of what you would consider to be a low point, or a time of the greatest emotion. You remember, emotion is how you kind of measure things, isn't it? And like, everyone will remember, not myself, I don't have children, but I'm pretty sure you're always going to remember Jesse being born as one of the most significant emotional moments in your entire life, for a good reason. And then you've got ones on the opposite end of the scale, and they scar you just as much as the birth of a child will elate you. And then coming all the way up to 2020, I was like, what the fuck else can life throw at me? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what else is there? What else is there to be experienced? And then, see, the difference this time was, back when I was a kid, I knew why I was scared, because there was somebody in front of me treating me that way. In Africa, I knew why I was scared, because there'd just been an explosion. It was obvious. It's like, oh, that's what it is. There's the threat. There's the fear. This time, it was coming from inside me, and I couldn't see it. There was nothing that I could see that would explain what it was, and that was the most scary thing, because I wasn't looking at something or hearing something or smelling something or able to talk with somebody else about something. Like, fucking hell, how did you feel then? Yeah, it was shit, wasn't it? Like, do you know what I mean? This time there's nothing on the outside. There's no reason for it. It's coming from within you, and that was the most terrifying thing, because there was no explanation. There was no reason. There was nothing to point fingers at. Nothing to try to break down and understand. It was just me lying on a couch with a busted knee from dislocating it playing football, all of a sudden feeling like the fucking walls were closing in, like the world was collapsing, like my body started vibrating and shaking, and I started feeling like weird sensations moving through my entire body. I felt like I was dying, and that to somebody else might just sound stupid, but if anyone's had a fucking awakening, you know exactly what I mean. You feel like you're dying. And your physical body's not dying, because it isn't, but something is being lifted off you and going away, and it's all those emotions and shit and all that trauma that you've not felt throughout your life is dying off. It's going. It's time for it to leave. Plus, like your DNA's changing, you're upgrading and things like that. But how that feels to be inside the body when all those unexplainable emotions from something happening externally start coming to the surface. And you're sat there and there's no external explanation for it. That is, to me, probably like more scary than most things that you could experience on the external, because not being able to rationalize something with an explanation of that's the reason made it so much more terrifying. Which is, and when I finally, after I'd finished going to the doctor, I'd been to hospital like twice with palpitations and suspected heart problems. I got my thyroid checked, I got blood tests, ECG scans, got my stomach checked, going back to the doctor over and over and over again. One day he just sat me down and he had this big piece of paper and he went through everything that he checked. And he went, "There's nothing wrong with you." And I was just like, "You think I'm nuts, don't you?" And I was just like, I was, and that was terrifying. And then he said, "Yeah, take this piece of paper here and take it to the desk around there." And I looked. And it was a subscription for antidepressants or something. I just threw it in the bin. I was like, right, I'm on my own. I'm on my fucking own. See you later. Yeah. So I walked home, and then just sat there and like I had a bit of an emotional breakdown, as you can imagine. And then I started I was like, I need to work this out on my own. The doctor can't help me. I've spoke to friends, I've spoke to family. Nobody's got any answers for me. So what have I got left now? I'm left to try and figure this out on my own. So I went on this journey of like, found out, there's this thing called The Dark Night of the Soul. I was like, it sounds like something out of a movie, but I'll give it a go. You know, it's worth a try. And then I was like, this sounds exactly like what I'm experiencing. Like this woman explaining to me what she experienced tells me exactly what I'm feeling right now. I was like, that's weird. Found another one. This time it's a man. He's explaining the exact same thing. I'm like, well, hang on a second. This is there's a bit of a pattern going on here.
Start to discern stuff now, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then eventually, like, there's like the doubt's like that big, and then the more time passes and the more stories of other people that you hear, the more different versions of it that you read, the fact that you find out that this idea of a Dark Night of the Soul has been around for a very long time. St. John of the Cross, Teresa of Avila, the Christian mystics from Spain in like the 14, 15, 1600s have been talking about this for centuries. It's not just some new age idea that people have come up with to try to explain a fucking mental health condition. It's been around for a very long time. And then all of a sudden things are starting to make sense. And why I'm so fucking passionate about sharing the fuck out of this shit as much as I can is because I know that, you can never say for certain, but I do not have a clue what would have happened if I would have not found other people that had done the same thing and shared it. Like, without them doing that, like, I'm so grateful, because who knows what would have happened if I wouldn't have found that information. Who knows what would have happened? I'd have been lost. I'd have probably been in a straitjacket getting spoon-fed in a nut house somewhere, because I would have thought that I was just broken. I would have believed that, and I would have been told by a doctor that I was as well. I would have been told by a doctor that I was broken, and I would have had no choice but to believe him.
And it's interesting to say that as well, because it makes you think how many people, maybe in the past, before 2020, are in mental asylums because they've had an awakening. And they're going, no, I'm talking to my guides and did it. And the doctor's going, no, you're crazy. And you go, oh, I'm crazy. And then you start believing the doctors. And then the voices start to get really negative. And then they start to get really scary. And then now you're a problem, not only to yourself, but to everybody else as well. We'll lock you up in here. You know, in other cultures, they revere them people.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people who I speak to on the calls that I do, which is now forming into Akashic readings, is for healers, for people. Every single one of them. No, I don't think there isn't any single one of them who hasn't got some form of societal condition. Yeah. And I literally say to them, there's nothing wrong with you. Your gift is just misunderstood by you and by everybody else. You know, it's like a lot of bipolar people, you know, it's like medicating with weed or whatever it is. And it's just like, that's the only thing that they found works for them right now, you know, to keep them balanced.
Yeah. When
actually a lot of them have soul contracts that means that they've been helping out in ways that we can't see in the perceivable, tiny perceivable fraction or slither of perceivable light or reality. You know, now we're breaking out into higher realms, into other people who haven't gone through the initiation, if you want to call it that. Then they're going to look fucking loopy to everybody on the outside world, when actually the loopy world is the thing that we're breaking out of, which is the irony of it all. You know, and that's why the irony was so great in 2020, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's just like I was sat there at times going like, fucking hell, like you can't write this, but you can, because it was, and it has been. You know, it's like that's the beautiful thing, isn't it? You know, it's like it was an interesting thing when you were saying, you know, it's just like, you know, there's no reason for it, and it's just like you're lying on your couch with a broken leg, and your higher self just like putting the clip into the seatbelt, fucking go. You know, it's like. But you do get to that point with it, don't you, where you're able to look at it and go like, oh, cool. But so anybody watching this who is going through this right now, is something that when I had a depression, and I went to somewhere down in York to speak to a guy, and I was telling him about all of these things that I'm going through and stuff. And this guy just, the psychiatrist guy, this sort of Irish guy was, to be sure. He just looked at me and went, like, it's very important for you to be around other people who are also speaking what you are speaking, okay? And I was just like, oh, good, right. It's just like, so there's more. And he was like, yeah, there's more. This is a thing, you know? And it's like, so it was very interesting. You know, very, very interesting to see it from that perspective, because my reality shifted after that. So, right, I've got to find people who have also, and then that puts the intention out to the universe. It's like that, you know, the Christina Lux, or, you know, I read a book by, I can't remember his name now, not up there anymore, but yeah, The Dark Night of the Soul. And I remember doing this pond job, and this is after I fucking started to go a bit, you know, psychotic, if you want to call it that. I've started to wake up, but I'm around the wrong type of energies to nurture that. No judgment, no fault or anything. It's not that. But like, I remember being in this, doing this pond job and going away. It's perfect. Like, I was going away and staying in fucking hotels down the country and stuff, and I was on my own. And you know, the guys are like, "You coming out for a drink with us?" and all that lot. And I'm just like, "No, I'm just about keeping it together here." You know what I mean? I'm just about fucking keeping it together and spending time around you guys who are drinking, and just, you know, think that I went out for a drink with them one night, and I remember being really short with them and stuff, and just like, you know, and I was like, this isn't for me, guys. Do you know what I mean? I remember walking out of that job as well. I couldn't hold it down, and other people around me go like, why didn't you just keep with the job? But they're nowhere near your level of what's going on at all, you know. It's like, and everybody's resisting that. It's quite interesting. But yeah, I remember a few days on that job, I just got that flood of terror again and felt like God hated me and all of this, and it was the most terrifying thing. And the guy who was with, bless him, you know, it's like, I remember him just going like, I think we should go home now, you know, because I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, oh my God, I look absolutely fucking terrified and fucked, you know. It was like really intense time, you know. We went to do another job and it was just like, Sam's not okay, we need to think it, you know. I was going fucking loopy, fear, like beyond anything. But I don't know where I was going with that. But
no, but like, what was it like? My situation was a bit different. I want to know, having to go to work, because I was lucky that for me, divine timing wasn't the case. So you was having to still turn up to work and still be around colleagues and stuff, because that's an
people
important...
who I didn't know as well. New job. I went to start a new job at the middle of my fucking horrendous time when I just moved out of my ex-partner's house and gone to stay with my sister. And then I was just like, you know, it's like, I don't know if I can fucking do this. I remember going in and just, I was smoking so many fags then, you know, just smoking fags after fag after fag, you know, and just trying to get some balance, you know, and the cigarettes actually grounded me really well during that time. But yeah, starting a job where it was like everybody around me, you know, I went in and they were like, so you're jabbed then? And I was like, no. And they were all like, fucking dirty person and all this. So I had all that as well. And I had to sit there while I was going through all this terror and fear and shit, having to drive up and down the country and stay in hotels and pretend that I was all right. It was just, it was a fucking amazing time. It really was, you know. So, but it showed me how strong I am, you know, to be able to do that. And I was sat in, just on a night, sat in the hotel rooms, just doing meditations and stuff, you know, just trying to ground back down here because, it was fucking terrifying, man.
Yeah, definitely.
But would I take it back? Nope.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, I find that's interesting to me, like, because we was out of work for 9 months basically, like not out of work, but at home, not needing to be present, like, and I wonder if there's people now like you watching now. I wonder if you're in a situation where you're having to turn up to a job, you're having like, because that's not towards the end of mine. He started slowly integrating us back into it. And I remember one time, I went through a phase as well, actually, which is a big part of it, where I felt like I was going to faint, like, for large parts of the day. And I'd be walking around doing certain things, and I'd be like, wow, I feel like I'm going to faint now. And then sometimes I'd sit down and they'd be like, right, get on with it then. Like, if I need to faint, just faint, and then I can wake up and crack on with my day, like, because I got that sick of it. And this one time I was driving a minibus full of people down the motorway, and it was happening then. And then I was next to my mate Danny, and he's having a full conversation with me, and I'm having a full. He hasn't got a clue. He doesn't. He literally, like, I'm like, yeah, laughing, smiling, joking. Inside I'm like, this is awful, but praying to, like, please, just get me to the next junction so I can pull over and swap driving, please. Like, I'm sorry for anything I've ever done. Just asking for forgiveness, like, thinking I've done something wrong. But, like, begging, pleading with God, like, please just get me to this next junction, please. I'm sorry. Whatever it is I've done, I won't do it ever again. Just let me pull over and swap drive. And, like, that's a level it got to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that forgiveness thing is a big part of it, because I remember sitting there going, God will never forgive me for all that I have done. Yeah. You know, and I remember going like, fucking hell, and I was going through my whole life, every bad thing that I'd done, I was going, oh my God, I'll never be forgiven for this, and oh my God, like that, then leaving Lou, oh my God, I'm a terrible, just going through every single fucking fear that I could ever pull up. Going, shit, please forgive me, you know. And I was looking at the right sites at the time. I was looking at Christian ones and stuff, you know, and some of them were saying, God will never forgive you, and da-da-da-da-da, and I'm just like, oh, shit, you know. And then you find out that there's actually nothing to forgive. And there's a good thing that came up for that is, like, all after, when you're in that state of fear for long enough, that's what it's doing. It's being purged out, and you have to discern truth in that fear, and that's the process that's happening now. When you look at it from the expanded out and now retrospect, you're just looking at it and viewing it from that place and going, oh shit, yeah, all them fearful times, that was me discerning that fear isn't real, you know. But when you're in it, especially at them times when it seems like the universe has just gone, fuck you, then you're like, shit, you know. And it's like you are almost, it's like the repentance, is that the right term, or you're just having it all purged up and out of your system. And the lie here is the fear, the conditioning is the fear, you know. That's what the game is here on earth as I see it. So the more you can lean into that and go, what is that fear, that false evidence appearing real, the more it liberates your soul in essence, you know. And that's why everybody's in hell right now, being trapped by their own perception of themselves, isn't it? I feel that's it, you know. So as soon as you want to, you can look at it But as soon as you open, it's like the awakening is that, ready? No? Well, fucking here we go. And it opens the door and you can never close it again.
Mm-hmm.
You can't close it again.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's the thing everybody really struggles with, because now it's like your paradigm is going to be fucking minced.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what we're here to do, is to help ease that transition, that door opening and going, yeah, I know it looks fucking awful and some of it is, but you'll be all right. That's pretty much what we're doing, isn't it? You know, it's like,
just trying to rationalize and normalize the whole thing for people.
Yeah.
And like, one of the things that helped me a lot was obviously videos of people sharing it, but then I go to the comment section, and then these are just people, like normal people, is what I would call them. They're just regular people who've seen the video and they're just commenting, and you'd read through and you'd get like people who are experiencing just what you are, and then you get people who are experiencing what you are with a slightly different take on it because they're getting different contrasts of it, and you just like reading through it, and it validated what you was experiencing to the point where you began to stop thinking it was anything else, because
it can be.
A large part of it, I don't know about you, but a large part of it for me, like, was denial. Like, it's not. There's going to be an answer. Eventually, I'm going to go to the doctor. There's something wrong with my blood. It must be my thyroid. It's this. It's that. It's that. All these things, and then it's fucking not. It's not. It's trust me. It is. You're just awakening. You're evolving. This is what your soul planned before you came here. You're blessed. It's happening right now. It's happening at the best possible time, because trust me, in 5 years' time, it's not going to be as fucking good as it is now. When we went through it, we probably had it slightly easier than the people that are having it now, because the energy is intensifying, everything's speeding up. So they're going to get what I had in 9 months is probably fucking going to get condensed down maybe to 6 or 5 now, and it's going to be more intense. So not to scare anyone or anything like that, you know, we can all
it's exciting, isn't it? And I think that's what we do, is, like you said, we normalise it.
Yeah.
And the term grounding actually means embodying more truth.
Yeah.
You know, being grounding an energy for people, and that's like, you know, I've had readings, they say you're a tree for people, you're a grounding energy, because, you know, anybody could fire anything at me, you know, and say, oh my God, this is happening. I'll be like, oh, sound.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that ability to do that when everybody else goes, oh my God, that's terrible, isn't it? And they go, yeah, it is. Oh my God. And you start this thing up going, whereas like it falls onto me and I just go, sound there. Yeah. Oh, just wait. It gets more exciting, you know. Exciting. I wouldn't call this exciting, you know. It's like, you're seeing it as nervousness at the moment, anxiety, aren't you? Yeah, it's just excitement, but if you put a different lens on it, it's is this, and this happening? Yeah, how do you know that? It's like, because it's happened to us, you know, and it's just like, oh, so it's normal, yeah. Oh, cool. Is it a good thing? Everything's good. Everything's good, yeah.
Well, I think once you surrender to it, it can become quite a beautiful process.
Yeah, it's only the resistance to it that creates all the suffering that we create ourselves. That's it.
100%. Because I resisted. I resisted myself all the way to a hospital bed one time. I was lent over the banister.
I resisted myself all the way to I created my own suffering so much that I went to hospital.
Literally, like I'm at home and I've got this anxious feeling within me, and I'm trying to go away. I want it to go. And I'm like trying to force it out of me, and I'm like this, and I'm lent over the banister, like going like that, and I'm squeezing, I'm all tense, and I just went all faint and almost passed out. And my ex-partner phoned an ambulance, and they came round, and he fucking took me to hospital, got all these blood tests, and he was like, no, you're fine, you can go. But that was like
you don't understand. There's definitely something wrong with me. I did exactly the same. Went to the doctors. They gave me some laxatives, and we're just like, "Oh, pass." And I'm just like, "But no." And they're like, "There's nothing wrong with your body, Sam." And I'm just like, "But you don't get it. You know, you're trying to look for these physical things because you don't understand it, and it's fucking scary, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's really scary."
But when you get to that surrender phase of it. I remember after once I'd given up the fight and trying to resist, I seen reading lots of stuff about it, and this one lady had put, once you surrender to it, it can actually become quite beautiful. And I was like, right, well, it's worth giving it a go. So I lied on the couch, and then there's all these full body anxiety, is the best way I can describe it, from head to toe, morning, 24 hours a day. And I was lying there, and I was like, right, okay, whatever this thing is in my body that I'm feeling, I allow it, and I accept it, and I trust it, and I'm no longer going to surrender. And I'd lie there like that, and it started to feel different. The energy of it started to shift, and it wasn't so much an anxious feeling as much anymore. It started to feel quite nice. And then my thoughts would come in, and I'd get distracted, and I'd be back to anxious again for days on end. And then, but every now and again, in the right headspace, I was able to sit down, and it did actually start to transmute the energy of how it was feeling and how my mind was interpreting it and how it felt in the body. So that might be possible for some people too. Just like really, when you surrender to it, it's surrendering the tension in your body to it. It's allowing your whole body just to relax and surrender, just for however long you can, a day, half an hour or whatever. Just sit there and just let your body completely go, and all attachment to an expected outcome and like expectation of what it is. Just you can't stop trying to sort of get your head around what it is. Just allow it to
intellectualize it.
Yeah, just allow it to be.
It's just there to be felt.
Yeah, exactly.
But the mind, the filter of the mind gets in the way of it, doesn't it? And it just goes, oh, it's this, that, and the other. Just shut up.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's this, that, and it. Just shut up.
Yeah.
Just feel it. Let it be there, you know. And it's like the resistance to allowing that energy to come up and through us, we create unconsciously. You know, through that resistance to it, and so it is. That's why one of the biggest things on this journey is, okay, go, you know, let it fucking happen, you know, and then that's it. And thusly, microcosm, macrocosm. If we surrender and let go, then everything happens for us anyway.
Yeah.
You know, we're no longer resisting that, and it's like, and that's the thing. We are creating all of our suffering by resisting what is. You know, it's like living here back with my parents and stuff. You know, it's like it's been bliss for 6 months, but now things are starting to show, and it's like it's going, okay, time for you to move away. You know, it's time to be in your own space now. You know, it's like, and that leads us on to like, you know, it's this idea, and maybe it's a subconscious belief for quite a lot of people, is like, especially with the avoidant attachment style or whatever. You know, it's like, oh, it doesn't have to be avoidant, but there's a level of unconscious belief within my family unit anyway, where it's like the children, the way that they were raised is, I am responsible for my parents' emotions, for their feelings, for me keeping them right. And there's a play off here with, in order for me to feel safe, I have to ensure that my parents, everybody's a child really, it's like, are okay. So then we put it onto ourselves, and this is what I've done. Maybe been moving back here, it's out of alignment. It's not, it's been in alignment because it's shown me this unconscious pattern where I'm trying to keep everybody happy. People pleasing, that's what it is, you know. It doesn't matter if it's within me or with whoever. It's just got off the phone with my little sister as well, and that's quite interesting listening to her talk about things, because like the other day, for anybody who doesn't know, I called my mum a cunt, right? And in that day, it was really interesting because I got triggered, came home from a run, got triggered, fired up with my parents, didn't catch it in time. We had this big barney for 5 minutes, ended up there, I called my mum a cunt, and as soon as I said the word cunt, I was like, oh, shit, nah, I do apologise, mum, I didn't mean that, like, I got fired up and all the rest of it. Took accountability for it. Beautiful. And then speaking to my little sister about this today, and it's interesting because there are two ways to view any situation in life. There is, we can become empowered by it and take accountability and move forward, or we can stay stuck and play a victim in whatever it is, you know. And it's like, the choice I made in that moment was to say, right, okay, I'm going to empower myself through this. I came in here, I sat down, I sat with the feeling of calling my mum a cunt, and went, wow, there, you know. And I pulled it round to the point where I was then laughing at it and being like, fuck, you know, okay, you know, words can't hurt people, you know, if there isn't any truth within the person, about what is happening, but I was like, put my hands up, that was not okay. I didn't catch it in this time. It was a mountain out of a molehill. But the beautiful, that whole, but everybody thinks these experiences that are really fired up and all the rest of it are bad things. No, they're where I've said it on the podcast. They're where the cream is, where you get that heightened emotion, like you're in the war zone or whatever it is. It's the same energy that's going on in our body. Fear, deep fear is coming up to be seen, and if you allow it, and I came in here and sat with it, sat with it. Okay, yeah, right. Yeah, it's gone. Because I allowed myself to feel that, and that allowance is that openness that allows the divine, if you want to call it that, divine energies to flow through. Anyway, so, it's like, whereas my mum and dad go on the opposing side of that, was it all right for me to call them a cunt? No, it's not. Was it all right for them to be the way that they were all the way through my childhood? No, it's not. But what happened that day was really interesting because it's now, it was brought up yesterday with my little sister. I wasn't there, I was in bed, and they were having a conversation about all this. And Annabelle was saying how tired my parents look. I know why my parents are looking tired, because they've still got all of that locked within them. It's a tough one to let go of that. My dad said some things that day, that are still affecting him today. And he brought up loads of other stuff from the last time that we had a Barney or whatever it was. And I stood in my integrity. And the resistance to what we're saying here about like being in denial of your own actions and your own things, if you can't take accountability, that builds up and it builds up. And then the universe will bring it back in another cycle for you to see and another cycle for you to see. And really interesting. I went away with Kate for a couple of days. It's quite a long story, this, but there's so many parts to it because the universe shows us all the time, okay? If you're seeing spiders around, spiders signify karma, when karma is being served, okay? And I came back into the house and Dad was still holding all this stuff inside and I was like, "You all right, Dad? How's it going?" And he's just like, "Yep, fine." It's like, because his resistance to admitting certain things that have happened in the past to himself, not about me. I don't care anymore. It's like, not for me, it's up to ourselves to liberate and free ourselves. And it will only affect us. And this is why hanging on to those feelings, it's like after that, I'm going a bit all over the place here. But like after that, after I came in here, sat down, went back through the other day and then like tried to have a conversation with Dad about it all. The Dad's there going like, no, I'm fine. I'm like, yeah, but the words that you're saying and the actions that you're giving in your body are very different. It's like, you're not okay, Dad, and that's okay. It's okay, And it was like, well, I just ended it with saying like, well, Dad, I love and accept you unconditionally. Do you know what I mean? I love and accept you unconditionally. Even if you want to hurt me over these things and that, I get it, And it's like, and he said, no, it's going to take quite a lot for me to be able to ever forgive this. And I said, well, that's on you. That's on you. I'm okay with you feeling like that towards me. I don't mind, do you know what I mean? Because I know that we're all hurt on the inside, or there's parts of us that are not being looked at. But if you can't forgive me, that will only affect you. It won't affect me anymore, And it's like, but I love you unconditionally. And then, anyway, came back in after 2 days away, giving him a bit of space and things. And I came back through and there was a spider down on Dad's wall. And I walked past it twice and didn't get it. But the universe is always giving us signs, all the time. And I walked past it a third time and went, karma. This is my dad's karma coming up for him to be seen. And then as soon as I recognised it, next time, 5 minutes later, I walked past, spider had gone. Because the universe is in charge of all animals. And we think, animals are just, they're just unconscious things. No, they're little signs and signals. That's why the birds tweeting outside, they give you all signs and stuff. And that spider, I was like, it's karma, isn't it? Yeah, their karma's coming up for them. And whether or not they see it or not, that's up to them. And it's been really enlightening for me because having that awareness of that and being able to separate myself from it and go, I'm not responsible for my parents' emotions. All I can do is manage my own, which I do sometimes. And I fall unconscious with at some points as well. But then it's really interesting speaking to my little sister as well. And you know, said, like, we can choose, because she was speaking to my mum and dad about all this stuff, and they're playing victim with it, and I get it. That's what I'd do if I was them. You know, I have compassion for them. But then my little sister said, well, you know, Sam, it's not all right if somebody calls you a cunt. I mean, if somebody called me a cunt, I'd be really offended by it. And I said, but you're giving your power away to that person then. So you'll always be in a state of anxiety. If your own worth is determined by something outside of yourself to validate who you are on the inside, you will constantly be searching and seeking for that external validation, which you will never find. So that made me realize, oh, hang on, because I can be really hard on myself, you know, and I always overjudge myself, when actually when you step back and you're able to look at everything objectively and go like, oh, okay, right, this is all happening for me. So how do I empower myself through whatever this is happening, you know? And it's like, just that interaction with my little sister made me realize, like, she can still be affected by other people. I mean, we do lives and stuff. I get trolls on there all the time. I quite enjoy them, you know. I quite enjoy the trolls because they come on and they show other people who are in that live how to deal with negativity that's being projected at you, you know. And I always go like, I see this person thinks that I can't be enlightened if you're not vegan or whatever it is. That's got nothing to do with me. Just recognize this, people. When that person's projecting onto you or calling you this, that, the other, you've got stupid hair or whatever, it's just like, it's their own insecurities that they are projecting onto the veil of reality. And if you allow it to affect you, if you consent to that hurt affecting you, then it will affect you. And this goes into fucking everything, governmental systems, all sorts of shit. When you really start to be okay with who you are and settle into yourself, you are able to do things that people who are in that victim place will never be able to do, like stand up and not pay tax. You know, it's like, I know I'm bringing that up, but that's where it moves to. It's a place of sovereignty is going, I can set this up so that I have to determine to the government where my money goes, and if it doesn't go to the place that I determine as being morally sound or whatever it is, then you do not pay that. But it only comes from a place of when you're able to take that flack and go, I'm not affected by this, you know. And there's levels to that. But it's where the world is moving right now. Just thinking, I'm just healing my nervous system so that I can be all right within myself. No, we're healing our nervous systems and bringing awareness to stuff so that we are able to truly be sovereign beings again on this planet and not be beholden to any higher power, you know, other than God and the universe. You know, it's like, that's it. And that's what you write into these things is like, I am beholden to, it's me, then God. That's it. Yeah. I'm not beholden to any government, because I did not consent to this. And it's huge, all of this, you know. So keep doing the work or not to do. Or some shit.
No, beautifully said. Like, you might be asking, after listening to Sam, like, okay, well, where do I start? What do I do? How does this look for me? Well, what happens is simply, life is going to present you with opportunities to do all of those things that Sam's just mentioned. Life's going to present you with an opportunity to trust yourself, stand in your sovereignty, like not be controlled by something on the outside, not allow external things to control you internally. That's how it happens. Just by setting the intention that you'd like to grow in a certain way is enough, and the universe, the world's going to listen, and it's going to navigate you down a pathway where those challenges are going to be presented to you. And it's just about remaining conscious. Consciousness is massive, as in remaining conscious of what's happening throughout your day. Like with a spider, Sam walked past a spider twice, and it was the third time he noticed a spider. The spider was there the other two times. He just didn't see it. Yeah. What?
I love threes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right, yeah.
That's me on the third one, isn't it?
3 6s and 9s, yeah. No, like, and like, I'm pretty sure I can guarantee, like, I've not seen something the first time, not seen it the second time, the third, fourth, fifth, and then eventually I'll get it. It was there the whole time. It's just that my consciousness has lit it up, and now it is there for me to be able to see it in a way as the universe offering me something, an opportunity to grow. Everything, all of this stuff, it is an opportunity for your growth. This place is a school for the soul. Every single moment in time, pretty much, is an opportunity for you to grow on a soul level. and you're going to just get a continual conveyor belt of opportunities to evolve if that's the path you choose. Or you can choose to be ignorant and unconscious and just march through life, never taking accountability, never thinking anything's your fault, pushing everything away. I've been there for many years. I spent many years of my life doing that. I know what it's like to walk that path. And trust me, this path is more challenging. Yes, there's more ups and downs. But believe me when I say it's by far 1,000 times more beautiful, 1,000 times more meaningful, and 1,000 times more worth it. 1,000 times more harder, but it outweighs it. The pros outweigh the cons 1,000 to 1, 1,000,000 times over. And you could not, if someone offered me to go back into my unconscious state of being, but be a billionaire, I'd say I'd rather sleep on the streets. I promise. No. I honestly, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I would rather sleep on the streets.
Yeah, money's fuck all. Yeah, exactly. To this, to that level of awareness. It's really interesting you say that because, the states of consciousness that we go into in, whether it be plant medicine or just meditation or whatever it is, it's like, I remember helping my brother Nathan, who's dead now, dead Nathan. He went through a really rough knocking on the door of that hell realm place trip. And I remember afterwards he turned and looked at me and just went like, I knew where I was at. He just went like, money, like cars, and I went, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely fuck up. And he's like, compared to what that is, whatever that feeling is, nothing. Not even on the scale, not even on the starter scale of what that is. And that's such a hard thing to describe, but I just looked him in the eye and was like, this is real, isn't it? And it's like, that's fucking real. Like, none of that is, it's all a facade. It's like, it's incredible that.
Yeah, completely.
But don't be deterred, people. Like, don't be deterred. You are all incredible. Don't put Matty and I on pedestals like at all. I was, 5 years ago, I was working my forestry job and just thought I was little Sam, nothing going on, maybe earn $8,000 a year and taking over this business and do all the rest of it. And then just the universe, your higher self comes in and goes, fuck you, but not fuck you. It's just like, are you ready? And you're like, no. And he's like, well, fucking here you go. You're doing it anyway, and then you really start to get in touch with your soul, your higher self, and don't expect anybody else to understand that as well. If you're going through this, anybody who hasn't been through it yet, it's coming in a big way, but fortunately there are lots of people here and you can find it very quickly now. It's not to say that people weren't awakening before 2020, but 2020 was there to act as a catalyst, as a fuse for what is happening now. I was going to say what is coming, but it's not. It's all just now. Staying in this present moment with it all is a big gift, and that's what it's teaching us to do. It's purging all of this stuff out of our system so that our nervous system regulates no matter what is happening on the movie screen of reality. We can go, it's all right.
Yeah,
it's all good. Yeah,
exactly. That's what it is. It's a movie screen, the movie screen of reality. Best way to look at it.
Yeah.
Best way to look
very
at it.
Convincing at times, isn't
it? Sometimes it's very convincing. And others, you're just like, how did I ever fall for that? Do you know what I mean? You're like, really? I used to fall for that? Like, no way. But I actually did, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's good. I like this. Oh, well. Leave it there. Any closing thoughts, Matthew?
Just, right now, even today, I'll fall into moments of unconsciousness. I'll have moments where I'll be like, fuck, I missed that one. I'll let people down. I'll let myself down. I'll do things I wish I hadn't done. Like, you don't expect yourself to reach a place in time in life where everything unfolds perfectly, because it never will. Part of this place where we are, this dense linear existence, it's so you can just continually learn from fucking up. and getting up every time you get knocked down. That's what it is. You're not looking for perfection. You're looking for being conscious of yourself. Yeah, acceptance of yourself, or accepting how you are, and just being conscious of where your thoughts are, where your behaviours are, as much as you possibly can. Recognizing when you go back into unconscious and bring yourself back as soon as possible. And that's it. And fucking enjoy yourself as well. Don't take it all too seriously. Enjoy yourself. Laugh. Take the piss.
Yeah, take the piss, because it is a divine comedy, isn't it? That's it. You know, when you really wake up to that, it is fucking hilarious, actually.
Yeah.
It's like when you realise and we take full accountability for it. Even on days like today, I'm just like, oh, what an idiot, you know. I'm still back. I go back to that unconscious place where I'm going, what an idiot. Why would I fucking do that and all the rest of it? Hasn't played out yet, you know. But having the one thing that I've learned on this journey is, in the hardest times, you'll feel it when it's the hardest to have compassion for yourself. Is the times when you need to have compassion for yourself.
Yeah.
Because only from that place are you able to make amends, or, you know, forgive, or realise there is nothing to forgive. You know, it's like, but if you hold on to that hate and that fear that you have of judgment from others, or fear or hatred for yourself, it will only poison. It will continue to poison the world around you as well as yourself. Yeah. And that's a really hard one to do, especially for people who struggle with self-worth and self-love. That's the journey. But now, within 5 minutes, I can get to that level of awareness that it would have taken me, so back when I was really unconscious, months to get to that place. You know, and that's why bringing awareness to it is it. All you're doing is bringing awareness to it. But the more love you can show for yourself, the more you can allow good things to happen to you. Like my mum, you know, with Christmas presents, push it away. You know, it's like, you know, there you go, his gift, mum. Oh, you shouldn't have. You know, it says it all. You know, it's like, just say thank you and go, wow, yeah, I deserve this. You know, instead of looking at all the negative parts of your life, for which we do take accountability for, focus on the good side of it as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, not to deny any part of it is the true acceptance, and you become complete and whole within yourself. You know, but it's an up and down journey. Don't like Matty said, don't expect it to be just like, I've got it, because it doesn't happen.
No.
It doesn't happen. It's constant journey. You know, and thank fuck it is, because if it was just like, I've got it, everything's great, it's fantastic. It's not what we came here for. We came here to learn. So the world is here to reflect that learning curve to you, and it's hard sometimes.
Yeah, 100%.
But very beautiful.
Yeah, stunning.
Sound, love it. All right, spot on. We'll leave it there, people. Thank you very much. If you want to go and follow Matthew, he is Souls That Wander on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I'm going to say that as well, that's it. Yeah, it's like, if you want to follow me, I'm Samuel __ Kelsey, or Medicine Man Sam on TikTok, I think it is. But yeah, I've just changed it back to Sam Kelsey. Well, I might change it back to Medicine Man Sam again, I don't know. So you'll find me anyway if you search for us.
We'll put it in description as well. So
aye, that's the one. Yeah,
so we'll do both. But yeah, spot on, buddy.
Yeah, spot on. Thank you very much. All right,
cool.
Stop recording now.
So.